Okay, now, if you've seen my other two videos, about one, I've got one on the Glock 39 here, compared with my Glock 23, and one on how I carry those guns with my crossbreed holster. You may know that I'm a fan of the 45 gap. If you haven't seen those videos, well, I'm a fan of the 45 gap. A lot of people are not. I get that. I could see why they're not. But then again, at the same time, I kind of don't see why they don't like it, if that makes any sense at all. I like it because of the reason it was made to start with. It's a 45 caliber in a shorter casing, with the same ballistics as a 45 ACP. So therefore it can fit in smaller guns. You know, it's hard to find a, compact or subcompact 45 ACP. Here's some, this is 45 gap. This is just some American Eagle 230 grain full metal jacket. 230 grain seems to be the, the popular for the 45 ACP. Kind of seems to be what most people shoot, what people like. And this here's Winchester 45 ACP 230 grain. It's a jacket hollow point. But anyway, and then this is the Spear Gold Dot 45 gap. And again, GAP stands for Glock automatic pistol, whereas ACP stands for automatic Colt pistol. The 45 ACP, it's been around a long time, over 100 years. The GAP, it's been around for, I don't know, early 2000s, or something like that. So not nearly as long. It's a new cartridge. As far as handgun cartridges go, it and the 357 SIG are the two newest cartridges, mainstream, readily available cartridges. I'm sure there's other Wildcat cartridges or things out there that I'm not aware of, or something, but as far as cartridges, popular cartridges that are you can find in most any gun, they're the newest ones. 357 SIG is a cool round, but that's a whole other video. Kind of a size comparison. They're the same caliber, same diameter around and everything. Shorter though, the gap is shorter than the ACP, which allows it to fit in things like this. It's a Glock 39. It's essentially the same size as the Glock 27, Glock 26, 33 maybe is what the 357 SIG one like this is. I'm not sure, but anyway, the only thing is it's a little thicker than the 27 or 26, but the grip and everything, it's all pretty much the same size gun, which is really cool. They don't have you can't get a Glock 45 ACP this size. You can get a 36 or a 30, but they're just as big as a 19 or a 23 really. And I did a size comparison on my other video between the 23 and this, and I wished I would have had a 30 or a 36 to compare to the 23, but they're pretty much the same size. And the good thing about it is, the ballistics on the 45 gap for a 230 grain, like the Gold Dot hollow point. And that's the thing, Gold Dot was, Glock and Gold Dot kind of got together and come up with this cartridge. So that's one reason I have the Gold Dots. One thing, they're about the only, I'm sure others make it, but it's the most popular hollow point carry ammunition that you can find in the 45 gap. The Winchester doesn't make a PDX in it. I'm a huge fan of the PDX. In my 40, that's all I carry is PDX. Love it. Great ammo. I've tested it on several different ballistics medium and different things. great, love it. But they don't make it in 45 gap, at least not that I'm aware of. But since Spear got together, with Glock to make this cartridge, it's probably about the best one you could carry in it. This here is actually 185 grain, but and 185 grain gold dot, jacketed hollow point in that, you're looking at about 1,150 feet per second and about 543 foot-pounds of energy. So that's really good. That's compared to a 45 ACP with the same grain, you're looking. This is about 185 grain Spear gold dot, same bullet, about 1,050 feet per second and 453 foot-pounds of energy. So in this case, the gap is has more power. And from what I understand, and I'm not a pistol cartridge expert or nothing, but from what I understand is, this is an old cartridge. It's not really pushed to high pressures or anything. They don't load it really hot. They do have some 45 ACP plus Ps that I've seen, but this is just standard ammo here. And this is not, from what I understand, this is not a plus P. It's just they load it a little hotter. They can. The case pressure is can be greater because it's a newer design. At least that's kind of what I understand. And it does use, you can see, it uses a small pistol primer, whereas this one is a large pistol primer. So whether that's good or bad or indifferent, I don't know, that's up for you to decide. And I'm sure there's some cartridge expert that may tell me that's better or worse or whatever, but it's just what it is, at least in my opinion. And that's great. I think for the 45 gap, 185 grain with 543 foot-pounds of energy, that's that's great. Now and a lot of people say any pistol is underpowered. Well, that's probably true. But I mean, you can't carry around your AR-15 all day, or your 308, or your your 50 cal. So, being as this is somewhat easy to carry, it's better than having a sharp stick. And if you compare that 543 compared to about 180 grain 40 Smith & Wesson, you're looking at about 440 foot-pounds. Whereas with your 9mm, you're looking at the heaviest bullet you can get with about a 9mm is about 147 grain. You're maybe looking around 400 with that. Your plus P's, you can get a 115 grain plus P 9mm. That'll get you about 460 foot-pounds. They do have the plus P pluses, which give you around 500, but that's still not. This was 543. A heavier grain bullet. I mean, so it's probably going to retain a little more weight. It's probably going to penetrate a little better. All this stuff is subjective to a lot of different things. I'm aware of that, but for the most part. And the reason I'm saying 40, 9mm and stuff is because that's other carry cartridges, that automatic pistol carry cartridges. I'm not going to go into the revolver stuff. Revolvers are great. I love revolvers. Big fan of Dirty Harry and his 45 Magnum and all that stuff. But to me, revolvers are just a little bit outdated. I really like automatic pistols better. I just do. That's me. And you may you may be a revolver person and carry a 38 or a 357 every day, and that's perfect. Whatever you want to carry is up to you. This is my opinion. 380, that's another very popular carry. It seems to me that it's probably the most popular carry cartridge. A lot of women that carry 380, men too. There for a while it was really hard to find, probably because a lot of people are carrying it. But with 380, I mean, you're only getting like a 95 grain bullet. and you're only getting about 200 or so foot-pounds of energy. And what that translates into penetration, well, that all depends, again, different things, where you shoot them at, what they're wearing, things like that. But to me, I really like the 45 gap. We'll kind of get back to that now. And a lot of people think that it was a solution to a problem that didn't exist. A lot of people saw nothing wrong with the 45 ACP. They thought it was perfect, great caliber, great cartridge, 1911 style pistols. People love them. I love them. I don't necessarily love them to carry, but I do love to shoot them. I have one. They're heavy guns. They do make them with like a 3-inch barrel and what they call compact sizes and everything. But still, they're heavy. You have to keep them locked and, with the safety, cocked and locked, what they call it, the hammer back, safety on. And that's okay. I mean, I've had pistols like that before that I've rechecked my gun and my safety would be off somehow, and kind of made me nervous because, they're pretty hair triggers on those guns, most of them anyway. This I feel safe with. I don't necessarily like safeties on a carry gun anyway, which is why I'm a big fan of Glocks, and that's a whole other thing too. But I feel good carrying this. I don't feel like it's just going to go off or anything, or I'm going to, somehow accidentally hit the trigger. I feel good about carrying this gun. Law enforcement agencies have, not a lot of them, but there have been some law enforcement agencies to pick up on the 45 gap. One near me that I know of, they carry it. It's a local municipality with a population of about 10,000 or so. The police department that I used to work for, we did not. We carried the 45 ACP in a Glock 21, which is a huge gun. And I'm not the biggest of framed guys, and it kind of looked funny on me. It was a big gun. Holds 13 plus 1, I think, if I remember right. 45 ACP. It's a great gun, great caliber, and if you're a police officer carrying it on your side, open carry style, that's fine. But it's not a gun you're really going to be able to conceal very well. I carried it concealed one time, but it's not the most ideal thing. I think the South Carolina Highway Patrol carry the 45 gap. Here in North Carolina, our state troopers carry the 357 SIG, which is a really sweet round. I like it a lot too. But there are some law enforcement agencies that are using this, and I don't know if it's because it's a great caliber, they just fell in love with it or what, but I think mostly it had to do with the fact that they got the guns really cheap from Glock. I think they really, were trying to push it on law enforcement and everything for female officers and smaller framed officers and people who, may have smaller hands, who the 45 was just a little big to hold. Like myself, I thought it was. I thought the 21's and I'm pretty sure mine was a 21 SF, which is the slim frame, but still, to me, it was just a little, I don't know, something's a little big, here. I don't know, my hands aren't that big. I'm about 5'8", 180 pounds, and I don't know, I'm about as average size as you can get, and it's just a little big on me. This, however, this feels good. Feels right. I don't know, I like it. I like the way it feels compared to, the Glock 21. So, I completely understand what Glock and Spear were trying to do with this caliber, with this cartridge. The 45 is a very, very popular caliber, very popular cartridge, the 45 ACP is, and they just wanted to improve it. A lot of people thought it needed no improving, and I get that. If it's a duty gun, you're carrying on your side, open carry, it don't really matter how big it is. You want to be able to get your hand around it, but for people to conceal carry and stuff, and smaller frame people, it's just a little big, and some people didn't quite understand that, but I get it. So I'm a big fan of the 45 gap. I'm all for improving things. It didn't catch on quite as well, unfortunately. Like I said, there are some law enforcement agencies using it, and I think it's going to stick around for a while. I don't think they're just going to quit making it. Sure enough, as soon as I post this video the next day, it'll come up that they've quit making it or something. That would be my luck. But as far as I know, as of today, which is February 2nd, 2015, they're still making it, as far as I know. Last I checked on Glock's website, they were still making the 39 and the 38, and I think the big size is 37. So you can still get it. It's out there. The ammo, however, not the easiest thing to find. I mean, it's not extremely difficult to find, but you're not just going to go to Walmart and buy it. You can buy 9mm and 40 and 38 special and all that all day long at Walmart. Some of your bigger gun stores and things, they'll have it. Not they can order it. You can order it off of, I've seen it on Midway USA, Cheaper Than Dirt, places like that. They have it. It's not that expensive compared to the others. It's not as cheap as 9mm, but nine's a good caliber. It's good price and everything, easy to find. But I don't know. I like the Gap. A lot of people I talk to, especially at the local gun store that I go to all the time, they're not big fans of it. That's where I bought this gun, and they had it for a pretty cheap price. Mainly because they just didn't think anybody would really want it, that anybody like it. And as soon as I came in and saw it, and I was looking for a gun that day, I had a little extra money to spend. I was wanting to buy something. I was thinking about maybe another Glock 27. I've owned a couple 27s, which is the 40 caliber version of this. It's a little thinner as far as the slide goes and stuff, but essentially the same size. And I was thinking about getting one of those when I saw this. I want this because I've always been a fan of the Gap round. I always wanted one, never had one, and I'm happy with it. I don't have any plans of getting rid of it or anything. Maybe one day I'll try to do a ballistics test with the Gap. Last time me and a friend of mine did one, I did not have this gun, so I couldn't do it. We did 40 and 9mm and 38 and 380, and might have even done 22 or 22 Magnum. Maybe 357. Might have even had 357 SIG too. I'm not sure, but we did a big ballistics test, which was really cool. And wish I would have videoed it. We didn't, but all I can tell you from that is it made me a huge fan of the Winchester PDX. And this video is not about the PDX, but just saying, if you have a gun that is a caliber that they make PDX in, buy it. It did really well in the 9mm and the 40, and surprisingly enough, it did really well in the 380. The 38 special, we couldn't hardly get the bullet to open up, the hollow point, for some reason. But the 380 did really well, 40 and 9mm. So, just a little side note, great ammo. I tested some gold dots that day too, and they're great too. But I will say this, if they ever make 45 Gap and the PDX, I'll switch to it. But I'm starting to ramble now, and I'm probably looking close to 20 minutes here. So, but like I said, I like the Gap. Try it out, especially if you're smaller framed, kind of like I am. If you're a big guy and you can hold the big 45s and you want to carry that and that's your thing, go for it. But if not, try this out. I really think you'll like it, especially if you like the, what they call the baby Glock size. And Glock's not the only person that makes this a gun that'll shoot that caliber. Don't get me wrong. Just because it's Glock automatic pistol doesn't mean that it's only available in Glocks. I think SIG makes guns in it, and I think Springfield does too. There's probably others, but I can't think of who they are. I don't know. But I know Glock does, and I'm pretty sure SIG, and maybe H&K in Springfield. But check them out. Check out the caliber. Look some stuff up on it. A lot of people, you'll hear. I seem to have found more negatives just because people are 45 ACP fans, but I really like it. So, thanks for watching.